I can sync those up.
Do you hear them ringing?
First topic.
That's how loud the Cedrus aluminum mast is.
Yeah, when you clap, all the aluminum masts ring out.
They harmonize.
The carbon ones don't.
Right.
So, I wanted to take a minute and talk about the state of the industry. We at the foil shop are not only tied to one brand. We tend to rotate through whatever we feel like is the best at the moment.
Or best coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we tend to hit on new releases, stuff that we think has a special sauce on it for that time period. And one of the things I've always said is these brands, they play leapfrog. The brand that used to be good last year is likely not good this year. When we take on a new brand, it's like, all right, I can see they've got about 18 months where they're going to lead the pack, and then it's too much for them to like reinvent the wheel every year.
There hasn't been a single brand that has maintained that like number one position for what, more than 6-8 months, something like that.
Right. Because
not because they got worse,
right,
but because they spent and to their credit, right, they spend so much time on this new product, this new concept, this new design, that they're in it. And when it comes out, it's the best. But while they're finalizing that release and getting the sales and everything ready for that to be done, the other brand is doing the same thing for their next thing.
Exactly. And no one's going to release something unless it's better than everything else out on the market.
Well, they shouldn't.
With exception.
They shouldn't. Yeah.
Most of the brands are trying to release products that they feel like are going to be number one. They're number one when they release them, and then somebody else is going to test it, ride it, experiment with it, and then launch something else that's going to be better for its discipline.
Which is why the stuff has gotten so much better in such a short period of time.
Yeah. I think what's really fun is even brands that we used to hate on a year ago, 2 years ago, we've ridden them this year and last year, and there's not a lot of bad foils coming out. I'm not saying there aren't bad foils, but there's not a lot of bad foils coming out.
Right.
There are a lot of pretty darn good foils, and it's like, which one do you want? Do you want to be the guy that, like, let's say you're downwinding. It's like, do you want to be the guy that has a super tiny wing and can go on a really small foil? Well, there's a brand for that. If you want to be the guy that has a giant foil that can still downwind on a big wing, well, there's a brand for that. There's all different flavors of everything coming out. So I don't know. Where do you see the industry this year in 2026? How has it evolved? How's it changed? How is it different than it was a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think the players have kind of changed, right? From early on, you had
like the big four.
Axis, Armstrong,
Lift.
And
Takuma.
RIP to both of those, to Lift and Takuma, right?
Lift is still out there, but they're doing different stuff.
Lift still exists, right? But I mean, if you think about, the number one brand that you would see in the water for surf foilers, at that time too, like downwinding wasn't really even a thing.
Right.
So the number one brand, the number one wing was what? The 120.
Yep.
Right? Or the 170.
Yeah.
And I know one guy that still rides Lift today.
I only know sponsored riders for Lift.
Right.
If they're not sponsored, they're not on Lift.
The guy the local rider, Chris Patane, he rips, who still rides the Lift 120, only rides it because he's a cheapskate and doesn't want to invest in a whole new system. He's tried every new system out there, AFS, Code, Cabrina, F1. He's tried it all and he's loved it all, but he just hasn't.
Just doesn't want to invest in the next
in the next one, which he's ready. We have a brand for him.
He's ready, and I think that's an important thing. The gear, ever since I would say the unifoil progression came out, the gear we're actually experiencing, like, for the first time in a long time, the gear isn't dying off, or it's not becoming obsolete as fast as it used to be.
Oh, totally. I mean, I think the progression was a good benchmark in that realm, right? Of like relevance.
Yeah.
It was a great wing.
Yeah.
And it worked really well for most things. It wasn't the best.
It kind of paved the way for an all-around foil.
Yeah, it wasn't the best at anything. But like before that, everybody said this wing does everything. And sure, just like you could drive an F-150 on a racetrack,
right?
you know, on a NASCAR
It
track, and it
technically
will
does
do
it.
the lap. It'll
Yeah.
do a lap. Won't do it well.
Right.
Right. Whereas I think the progression was that first foil that really did everything pretty well. Not the best, but pretty well. And then, you know, from that, the next evolution, right, was the Evo.
I think it's crazy. I mean, these brands, like every brand does it different. Like Codes foils are pretty specific. Like the S series is pretty much an all-arounder is how they developed it. But then the R series is pretty specific in the downwind, right? And in that like high top end. And then, but you give up that a little bit of the surf feel. Now they got the X series, which is very much surf, and you see that. And there have always been different families of foils, even within each specific brand.
Right.
But now, I mean, the foils are coming out so fast that, I mean, look at AFS. I feel like a year ago they came out with the Enduro. Now they got the Evo, the Silk 2. All these different things are coming out, and they all work great.
Well, I mean, from AFS, like I'm just looking at them here, right? There's the Enduro. And there's the Silk, which are kind of the two premiums.
Right.
But then they also have the Ultra for the downwind. And then they also made the Evo HA, which is also for downwind.
Right.
And then they made the regular Evo, which is an all-arounder, like entry level, easy use with still performance. But then there's also the Flyer, which is the entry level, easy use.
There's a lot going on.
I mean, it's like just like layers of
Yeah.
overlap from the different foils, which, I mean, if you can make them, it's great, but it kind of gets confusing for customers at a certain point.
It does, and it's hard to, I think of brands trying to make things less expensive. There are certain brands that try to make them less expensive and certain brands that don't, and I don't think you can recover. You can't sell enough wings out of that mold to recover from that development process for that family of wings. Like you need to be able to have, I think Lyft did it well where they made a 120 and they basically have just sold that 120 and they tweaked it, right? Like the mold got tired, they tweaked it, and now
cracked.
They got the one crack. Now they got the 120 like V2 or V3, and they've kind of like been able to just like hit on that success for a long time, and I think that's what it takes. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the industry and the brands where they're all at now, I think making a foil that does most things or everything well is important. I don't think you can make these like, you can only make these hyper specialized foils.
Right.
That, and what drives me nuts is when brands market a wing that really is meant for one thing specifically as this, oh, but it also surfs. And it's like, come on, like, don't tell people that it, like, just tell them this is a downwind wing and it does this.
Yeah.
And if they want to go surf it, let them. But I hate seeing marketing dollars and team riders and, you know, promotional ads for, I'm not going to say brands and I'm not going to say the wing, but like,
no, because they all do it.
They all do it, right, to a point. But like, there's a couple that are really egregious with it where they've made something that it's really good at one thing, but they don't want to get pigeonholed. So they spend time and effort trying to convince people that it can also surf, or a surf wing that can also downwind. And it's like, just hammer what it's for.
Be what you are.
Be what you are. Exactly. Like, let that wing be what it's meant to be. And don't confuse customers who may never get to demo it before they buy it. That's the problem. Is there's so few opportunities to demo the stuff before you buy it. I mean, like, we are, I'm proud of what we offer here at the shop, where we, if you don't know customers, like, you can absolutely try before you buy, sort of. The way it works with us here at the shop is, if you are interested in any foil, and you want to take it out, right? Like, you buy it and you go try it. And if you don't like it, we will absolutely take it back from you. And most of the time, I'd say like 80% of the time, there is no cost to you to return it. The only times where we have to take some money out of the return is for wear and tear. Like, if you hit the reef, if you scratch it on the sand, the goal is for us to be able to sell that wing as new. And if we can't, because it has clear use to it, then
And
You
if
can't
you're
do
local
that.
to the shop, we do have a stack of demo gear
Yeah, so
that you can just borrow.
we ship it. Well, we've done this for customers around the world. Any of our customers who have done this, comment and tell them that tell people you love it. But yeah, we'll ship it out, and then you pay to ship it back. You get your money back. That's it. But yeah, if you're local, stop in. We have demo kits, a whole office full of them that we just send out. I mean, once a week, someone's coming in taking something,
Yeah.
and you get to try it before you buy it. There's no purchase up front. There's no deposit. You know, if you're here, we know who you are, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that leads me into something else I wanted to touch on, and that is that if we're going to do reviews, because we are demoing this gear, that's why we have a room full of gear, is because we take it out and we ride it all the time. So we love talking gear. We love talking about our experiences and what we're feeling as we're trying all this new stuff. But as we begin to do more gear reviews, you will see us compare foils to like one brand against another and like what its strengths and weaknesses are. We don't carry a foil if we don't think somebody should buy it. So we might have the Flyer 1800 and then this new KT Beluga, they're calling it, the big thing. And they are very similar foils made for a very similar thing, but one is going to excel in like winging and wind, and one is going to excel in like learning in the surf, right? And so there's, but you're not going to hear us. We're probably going to try to remove words like game changer and like one foil to rule them all. You know, like I'm tired of the hype and the buzzwords. I'm sick of the foil reviews that are just like, this is the best foil in the world. It's like, okay, no, you went and towed and you had the best waves in the world, and that foil was good at towing.
No, let me tell you what really happened. That store bought 10 of them, and now they have to sell them, right?
Yeah.
So they need
guilty.
So they need you to believe that this foil is the best in the world, so that you will buy the 10 that they have sitting on. Or that person who's saying this is the best foil in the world is a team rider, or even worse, a prospective team rider who's trying to earn their bones to get on contract.
Right. Well,
it happens.
Am I guilty of saying this is the best foil in the world? Yeah, but the truth is, one's going to put it.
I said it yesterday, but I believed it.
But no one's going to put out a foil if it's not better than the other stuff that's out on the market. So anything that we're carrying in the shop,
usually,
anything we're carrying in the shop is usually top tier front runner with anything else that's out there. And like, are you going to like the silk better than the Armstrong surf stuff? I don't know, but is it competitive, and is it like, is it up there? Are they two top tier things? We don't have Armstrong in the shop.
We might say that, we might say this is our favorite foil. Right. And a lot of times we actually argue about what is our favorite foil for a specific purpose, right? So there 100% is a lot of room for personal preference and feel in that. But just know that, like, when our shop says something, like, we're standing behind it. It's because we've ridden it. It's because we've tried it. It's because we love it. Or if we say we don't like it, it's because we don't like it.
And everything's got its place. Yeah. You were on the progression, and I jumped on for a time and then jumped back off when I started writing code. Mm-hmm. Then you were on the evolution. Yep. And it took me a minute to jump back over to the evolution. Yep. It was when they came out with the 205 and some of the bigger ones, I started learning the downwind on them. But then I was on the evolution until Unifoil went private. And then I switched over to AFS for a time. I was back on code for a bit. You've been on Cabrina, some of the Cabrina foils and the AFS, kind of switching back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, daily switching.
Yeah, and so I know you and I have both kind of gravitated to that Cabrina AFS. I was on KT for a whole summer.
Oh my God, you wouldn't shut up about it.
And I still love the foils. Yeah. And then they've got a new product line coming out, which I'll probably say is the best ever, but I'm going to really try not to. Yeah. There's a foil for everything in 2026, and depending on what you're doing and what you're struggling with and what you're trying to achieve, there's a foil that can help.
And how much money you want to spend to do it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you've got an unlimited budget, like, we can find you the best foil.
Oh no, we will get you the best foil in the world.
Yeah. Well, what else? What else is going on in the industry? What is something that most companies are not going to say that customers need to know?
You don't need a new board.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I say that as we have.
What if somebody has a Freedom foil dagger?
Well, I'm looking at $10,000 worth of boards, and I'm telling customers you don't need a new board. with like the Astros,
Mhm.
right? The thing that I see the most is, I mean, all these brands are now going from making foils to making foils and boards.
Right.
There are some board specific companies like Sonova, KT. I would put them as like two separate
Sure.
things. They have a factory for their boards, and they started with the
They
boards.
do both well.
They do both very well. I would say they do boards better than foils to this point.
Yeah.
I never disliked the KT, but it wasn't my favorite.
It just has it wasn't your flavor.
Wasn't my feel.
Yeah.
Except for the Nomad 830 thing rips.
And I think that's another thing. If you spend enough time on any foil, your body's like rhythm and the way that your movements will evolve to that style that the foil wants.
Right.
And then it'll be hard to go on to the next thing. That's been the case with anything. So if you're coming from lift, you're gonna love code. If you're coming from code, you might have a hard time pumping AFS, but once you learn how to pump AFS, you're gonna love
that
these
front
other
foot
things.
to back foot feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just everything changes so much.
But yeah, back to the question. You don't need a new board, Astros, right? And it's the main place I'm talking about this is with the downwinding. I see too many people, and I say this teaching the lessons. I teach almost all of our lessons.
Yep.
Prone surf, toe foiling.
I teach bad habits.
and then
Patrick
downwinding.
teaches lessons.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And with the downwind boards, I mean, every year, every company makes new boards, which to KT's credit, they found a shape they like for 2026, and they're rolling that 25 shape into 26 with I think new graphics.
So they
colors.
specifically said we like the dragonflies, we like what it did, and we're not going to put out a new board for 2026. Which I think also to Kalama's credit, they found the gator last year, and they're just like sticking with gator and Cuda for the. They're not putting out.
Good for them.
Who knows? They might, but they're sticking with it. And the people, I will say, I was in La Ventana and I was paddling next to Mark, and I was on a crossing and he was on his gator, and he's maybe 20 years older than me. I could not keep up with him just paddling on our knees. Like he was gone. And
dude,
when
I
say
so
gone,
much time on your knees, you should have been killing it.
Yeah. So thank you for that. No, it was like when we paddle out pretty much right next to each other.
Yeah.
I was paddling out with him, same pace, and sometimes even pushing harder. And it was like I was halfway out when he was out at the wind
smoked
line.
you.
Smoked me every time. So there could be something to the gator.
Something there.
There could be something there. It's difficult for us to get the Kalamas in bulk, but
yeah. But yeah, the boards. You know, I see people planning their next purchase before they've really even hit that like top 20%, 30% of performance in the stuff they already have.
Yep.
The downwinding boards is a specific thing where like the Dragonfly crossing surf is not a fast board.
The crossing what?
The crossing surf.
Okay.
Or the Dragonfly surf.
Yes.
The KT Dragonfly surf is not a fast paddling board. But if you're downwinding and if you have marginal to decent conditions, it'll get you up. You'll go. If you're not getting up, it's not the board's fault.
It's technique.
It's your technique.
Right.
It's your timing. Usually what the problem is your timing. You're paddling too hard at the wrong time, so that when that moment of efficiency comes, you're gassed.
Right.
You start to lose your balance and you're falling, or you're just barely missing the wave, or you're whatever, right? But that's not the board.
We're not at a state in foil boards where if you're currently downwinding and can downwind, you're not going to take your downwinding to the next level by getting a new board. Right. You might make your pop-ups easier.
Right.
You might make certain things more convenient. It might be a lighter board. You might like it better. And that's great. Buy a board for that. But even prone, if you have a decent prone board that's a modern shape, that's basic, you're not going to improve your prone foiling by getting the
You're
next
not going to become
hotness.
Bennett's by going 2 inches shorter and 3 liters lower.
You'll probably get less waves.
You'll probably get less waves.
Right.
Your turns might become a little tighter if you have less swing weight. But
And if somebody still surfs, you're not going to become a better surfer by going on to that like super thin short board, like competition style board.
Yeah.
95% of surfers out there need something else. And so that's the same thing with these.
Yeah, the
these
latest
foil
and
boards.
greatest Lost or DHD is not going to make you a tour level surfer.
Right. The tour level surfers ride tour level gear.
Right.
And guys that are groveling on little waves in California should be riding small wave grovelers.
Right. So I think the boards, I'm happy to sell every customer a board, but I think one thing that I'm proud of us at the shop here for doing is meeting customers' needs. And a lot of the time, the customer's needs is a reality check where they'll call and say, hey, I want to get this KT Super K Pro Carbon, or I want the Sonova, what's the new one, Coaster, or I want, and it's like, yeah, like I'd love to sell you that board, but why, right? Like,
yeah, what's it going to do for you?
Yeah, what's your goal? If you're one of our customers, again, drop a comment and verify this, but if you're one of our customers and you call and you tell me you want this, I think one of the first things I ask is, well, why? What's your goal? Where are you now, and what are you trying to get to? And a lot of times, they're going from a similar board, a very good board, right? But they say, oh, well, I want to turn harder, or I want to go faster, or whatever, and they think that by dropping 5 liters, they're going to do that,
right?
Or they think that by dropping 3 inches or adding 3, they're going to make these huge performance changes, and it's like, you're not. I'll sell you the board,
sure,
but it's not going to make the difference. And that's when, I spend some time with them on the phone, probably more time than I should, but talking them out of the sale.
I find myself talking to customers and encouraging them to go larger in their boards, because if they're calling and saying, I'm having a hard time getting my board out of the water, winging or para winging or something like that, it's like, yeah, you need to go longer, you need to go bigger, we need to do something different.
I mean, if they're having an issue with something, then like let's get you the right gear to get you there. But if you're calling because you want to improve like this minute detail of something, realistically, the board, even the foil, is usually not the problem. It's just you. And that's when we spend the time talking to the customers about, it's not even a lesson. We don't even tell you come into a lesson. We try to talk you through what maybe you could be doing a little more efficiently.
Except for in my case, I should say that it's absolutely the gear's fault.
Always
the gear's fault.
If you don't pop up on a downwind run,
it's probably the gear's fault.
It's absolutely the gear's fault.
Yeah. So,
but
for everybody else,
created too much drag.
Leashes can do that. That's why we invest so much in the Kaohi products.
The Invis, right?
Yeah. Invis. Yeah. I would be a better foiler if I had more gear to try.
Oh man.
That was sarcasm,
by the way. If you need more gear.
Yeah, let me explain really quick. If you think that buying new gear is the solution, sometimes it is. But let me tell you how painful it is.
When the guy calls and he's riding the 220 Maliko.
Right. There are a lot of times the gear
might be the issue.
If you need a new board, you need a new board. But a lot of times you don't need a new board.
Right.
I think we've said it in the past. Like, swapping gear too often will mess you up. It absolutely messes me up. I'll go out there, new board, new paddle, new foil, and and then I get a challenging condition on
marginal
top of it,
run,
and I get skunked, and it's like I should have stuck with what I knew. I should have taken out the big guns,
Right.
But I've also gotten stuck the other way where I thought it was going to be crappy, and I take the really big stuff, and then I show up and it's bad. So, strength training, flat water paddle ups, like all these things help so much more than just swapping your gear.
Yeah, investing in time and training is better. It's cheaper, right? And it's usually better spent than investing in new gear.
Yep. All right.
Saying that, please buy some gear from us.
Yep. All right. What are you seeing in 2026 that's coming out that is new to the industry that you're stoked on? We don't have to spend too much time on this because I know you got to go.
I mean, I'm simple. I like to downwind and I like to prone surf. So in terms of like the new, I'm not really ever chasing anything specific. The two products that I'm most excited about, and this is gonna sound like shameless, foil shop plug, but
Go for
the
it.
the Silk 2 and the Whippet from Silk 2
Specifically surf wings.
Surf Wings, the Silk 2 from AFS and the Whippet from Cabrina.
Yeah, so those are going to be good behind the boat, and they're going to be good in the surf. They are not necessarily designed for pumping, glide, and endurance, but they do actually have more pump, glide, and endurance than other surf wing predecessors.
And that's what I'm so pumped about is, yeah, exactly right. I've ridden the Whippet for a while as a prototype from Cabrina. They sent me one, the 1000 size, which for me at 200 pounds, 1000 is usually the right size. It could be too small, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
I love it. And the Silk 2, I loved the Silk 1. I still think that is up there as one of the best surf wings to ever be released. And the Silk 2, it's going to be a little bit higher aspect. I haven't ridden yet, but it's supposed to be a little higher aspect. Some design changes in the foil section, but similar feel to what the Silk was. And I think the big change in the surf wings is going to be the ease of pump while still being able to surf. Yeah. Like you have all these high aspect wings like the Prestige and the Enduro that pump really well and can still surf. I would rather sacrifice a little bit of pump to get more of that surf feeling. And I know Joe is going to love to hear that because he's like hardcore committed to not pumping and just surfing. And I'm just looking to bring it back towards the surfing, but I do want to be able to connect waves.
I think that's a big trend we're seeing in the last few months, and then also we'll see the rest of the year. You've got the new Eagle X, the new version of it is out. You've got the Code X series. You've got the Whippet. You've got the Silk 2. The Whippet and the Silk 2 are a little newer, and so I feel like they've got a little sauce. I mean, always the newest thing has the sauce while it's the newest thing.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that's a big trend. And then the other thing I've seen this year is that the number printed as a surface area foil size is no longer the most relevant factor for riding that foil. It's a guideline. But like
a 750, 1000,
exactly.
1100, absolutely.
So you've got like the AFS Enduro that wants to be ridden larger than its printed number.
Right.
So like I normally ride an 850 or so. That's like my comfort zone for foils throughout the years. And then, but I ride the Enduro 1000 when I'm out there pumping around and, surfing. Whereas on the KT, I'll ride like a 790 Atlas, right? Yeah. Like it's totally different because one's got the airplane flaps, the camber on the bottom of the wing, and one's got the flip on the top of the
reflex.
Wing, the reflex on the top of the wing. And so those are going to do different things. Those are going to behave differently. The KT Solus that's coming out has the reflex, and so it's going to want to be ridden bigger than you would normally do it. So that number on the foil is no longer as relevant. When I'm telling guys like, oh no, you want the Enduro 1100 or the Cabrina 1150 for like instead of a big boy downwind wing, and they're like, well, that's too small. It's like, well, the number on the foil isn't as dominating of a factor as it used to be.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the design. The design.
It's changing.
It's changing, and they're getting more efficient. They're getting sneakier. I think KT really changed the game a lot with that camber section there, being able to decrease size. But then, like the Cabrina stuff, the current stuff, the Prestige, you can ride it a lot smaller than you think. It doesn't have that camber. It does have a great range. So they're real, like you said, the number means a lot less, and it comes down to more. If you're looking at buying something, reviews and talking to someone you trust, and maybe even getting a demo to find that right size for you. Because if you just blindly buy stuff off a website based on what you're currently riding, that's one thing. In 2026, in the foil industry, in the foil world, for a customer, if you just log on to a website, foilshop.com, and look for a foil and just blindly buy AFS Enduro 1000 because you currently ride a 1000, you will probably be disappointed.
Yes.
And it's just because the brands all have their own like sections of efficiency, right? And
yeah, you need somebody to talk to you about how those foils have been ridden, because it's no longer, I have guys that come in and they're like, oh, I can look at the foil and tell you how it's going to ride. And you just can't do that anymore. They're too different. But hey, look, I know this has been a long one, but thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, you're one of the few. So thank you for that.
Thanks to our 3 followers that are watching this video.
Jeff, Ben, and Jerry, we really appreciate you.
Oh, man.
But yeah, welcome to the Foil Shop. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, give us a call, shoot us a message, send us an email, stop by the shop, appointment only. And,
call the number on the door if you show up and no one's here.
Yeah, if you show up and we're not here, call the number on the door. We will absolutely always talk way too long about foils to customers, and our wives hate it, but we're foil nerds. We love it, and that's why we do it. So give us a call. We will walk you through your purchase, and hopefully after talking to us forever, you ultimately buy it from us and not another dealer.
Hey,
but
it happens.
End of the day, we're here to talk foil. So give us a call.